was the coolest experience, and it was amazing to see all the characters and the story and the music and the fights on a big screen. It was unbelievable. It was a really rare experience, and I'm so glad I got to do that. But I figured, since if you've seen Revenge of the Sith, you'll know. I think it's appropriate to do some Order 66 reading. So that is what we're gonna do today. So first things first, I'm gonna slightly adjust the camera. Just 1 second. Okay, sorry about the cuts. I guess my neighbors are having a dance party on a Thursday night. So if that's loud, that's gonna suck for me in post cut. But oh well, we're gonna make it work. And first things first, I apologize if this is a kind of if I mess up the reading every now and then. I just got back from boxing and I'm a little out of it, to be honest, but it's okay. It's gonna be just a low-key reading, so turn the lights down, brush your teeth, put your PJs on, turn the fan on, if that's your thing, and let's relax and listen or read along to some Star Wars with me. Now, one more thing before we start. We're gonna follow the trend of lighting this green oak and moss. Now, I was able to do this in one try the other day, but I guess my lighter decided to grow legs and run away. So give me 1 second. Okay, I found it. It didn't actually grow legs and run away. I'm so sorry if that's too bright. Okay. Okay. There we go. Now, this candle is amazing. I'm so sorry for the beginning of this video. It's so sloppy, but I hope you can understand. I'm a little out of it. Okay. Okay. Let's get to reading. We're just gonna do one chapter tonight, I think. And, see how it is. I have not read this yet. Prologue. Korbak Plaza, Galactic City, Coruscant. 600 days after the Battle of Geonosis. So that's me. That's how I once looked. We should all see ourselves from a stranger's perspective at least once in our lives. There's a Jedi walking toward me, all brown robes and earnest piety. No braid, so despite his youth he's not a Padawan any longer. He'll be commanding troops, at the very least. He'll be on active service on his own. The war makes us veterans before our time. I want to grab him by the shoulders and ask if he thinks this is just a war. A war fought honorably, but he'll panic if a Mandalorian in full armor accosts him, especially one who senses a Force user like himself. Nobody else is taking much notice of me. Mandalorians on Coruscant are just foreigners, bounty hunters, one more bunch of economic migrants out of the many thousands of species who flock to the galaxy's capital. The Jedi's looking around the crowd. He can sense me. I'm lost in the crowd of shoppers and sightseers. It's very strange, obscene even, to see everyone going about their business on Coruscant, as if we're not in the second year of an ugly war. And for them, of course, they're not. It's someone else's war in every sense, fought on other worlds, fought by other beings, fought by men who aren't Coruscant citizens. Clone troopers aren't anyone's citizens. They have no legal rights. They're objects, chattel, military assets. Nobody should stand back and let that happen, least of all a Jedi. I think his name is Karen Travis. That's the name on top of the page right there. I'm just a few meters from the Jedi now. He's so serious, so committed. Yes, that was me, just months ago. A passerby glances his way and I sense her unease. When I walked around the city in my robes, I thought that others saw me as someone there to help them. Now, I know different. They probably saw someone they didn't trust, with power they didn't understand, someone they didn't elect, but who shaped their lives beyond the scenes anyway. If they'd known how much I could shape their thoughts too, they'd have fled from me. The Jedi passes close by, but I still don't recognize him. He stares into the T-slit of my helmet, as if I've grabbed him. I can feel his confusion as I walk on by. No, not just confusion. Fear. A force using Mandalorian has to be on the list of the worst nightmares. That's true, that would be scary. There was a time when it was on mine too. Funny that. Then I sense him turn. I feel him working his way back through the crowd toward me, burning with questions, before he reaches out to tap my shoulder and I have to give him credit for even trying. I turn to face him. He flinches. What he sees doesn't match what he can feel. What are you? A man who drew the line, I say. How about you? You're General Jusik. Is it that obvious? To a Jedi, yes it is. I used to be Pardon Jusik. Everyone in the Jedi Order knows I finally went native. It's the only response I know. Complete surrender to a way of life. First Jedi, now Mandalorian, with every fiber of my being. My Jedi Masters didn't raise me to live my life by halves. Not any longer, I say at last. You walked out on us in the middle of a war, or we have to fight. He's puzzled, resentful, scared. How could you betray us like that? I wonder who he meant by we, Jedi, or clones. I left because it's wrong. I shouldn't have to tell him that. Because you're a slave army to do it. You're using a slave army to do it. There's no point fighting one kind of evil if you replace it with your own brand. Get specific. Get personal. Don't give them a chance to look away from his conscience. You, personally, you make that choice every morning. A belief you suspend when it suits you isn't a belief, it's a lie. Oh, that stung. I feel his soul squirm. I don't like it any more than you do. He seems oblivious of the stares of passerby. But if I walk out, it won't change the Council's policy, or the course of the war. It'll change your war, I say, but I suppose you're only following orders, right? Everything that has happened in the galaxy, everything that ever will happen, is a framework made up of countless connections of individual choices. Yes or no, kill or spare, survive or die. They shape every moment for all eternity. One man's decision matters. One being's choices, moment by moment, connected to a network of billions of other choices, is all that existence is. We need every general we can muster, he says. Maybe the Jedi thinks he can appeal to my sense of guilt. There's a terrible darkness coming. I can feel it. So can I. It's vague and unfathomable, but it's there, looming, like someone stalking me. Then do something about your own darkness, like joining a gang of mercenaries. He looks over my armor with evident disgust. Thugs, savages. Before you choke on your own piety, Jedi, ask yourself who you're fighting for. Firefek, I call them Jedi. My disconnection's complete. His expression is one of quiet horror, and I walk away knowing I'll never see him again. I know that, and this war will end in grief. I know that too. I've made my choice. Unlike the clone troopers, I have one. And I choose to let the galaxy look after itself and save those men that the rest of the civilized world relegates to the status of beasts. It's the right thing to do. It's what a Jedi should do. The day of reckoning is coming. Yes, I can feel that as well. I can't stop it, whatever it is. But I could defend those dearest to me. Choices. I had one. I made it. That is really, really good. Wow. This character, the Mandalorian, sounds very interesting. I'm gonna see how many pages chapter 1 is and see if we have time to read it. Okay, chapter 1's only 8 pages, so I think why not? Let's go for it. Chapter 1. So who's to know whether Django had more than one son or not? How old even is he? Come on now, Spar. It's time to be doing your bit for Manda Yaim. You don't have to lift a finger. Just act like Fed's air while we sort ourselves out, so everyone knows we're still in business. A quote from Fen Shaisa appealing to deserter Spar, former ARC Trooper A02, to pass himself as Django Fett's son and heir in the interregnum of following Fett's death. Mess Cavoli mid-rim, approximately 55 years before the Battle of Geonosis. Okay, interesting. Get up and run, you little Shakar, or I'll drag you up. Falin Matran could see the curling smoke of the mercenaries' camp a couple hundred meters away, but it might as well have been 100 kilometers. He couldn't get up, he couldn't go on. He knelt on all fours, struggling for breath, every muscle burning, but he refused to cry. He was 7 years old, nearly. He thought it was 6 years and 10 months, but he'd lost count in the war. Can't, he said. Can, Munim Shiki. Skirata was a big man with a pockmarked green armor and a blaster that fired metal pellets. That's very interesting, actually. He loomed above, voice deafening, face invisible from behind a helmet with a T-shaped visor that seared Falin the first time he saw it. I know you can. You survived Sorkakas on your own. You're not strolling in your fantasy Guadi bark now, so shift your sheds, you lazy little nibral. That's a lot of Star Wars vocabulary. It wasn't fair. Life generally wasn't. Falin's parents were dead, and he hated the world. He wasn't sure if he hated Munskita Skirata, but if he could have killed the man right there, and then he would have. Only exhaustion stopped him. He almost reached for the knife he'd taken from his father's body when he realized Papa was dead and was never going to wake up, however hard he tried to rouse him. But he couldn't take his weight off both arms without collapsing onto the dirt. You can do it if you want to, Moonin yelled, but you don't want to, and that's what makes you a Nibrel. You know what a Nibrel is? A loser, a waste of space, dead wood. Get up. Falin wanted one thing, and that was to show that he wasn't lazy or stupid. His dad had never called him stupid, neither had his mother. They loved him and made him feel safe, and now they were gone forever. He struggled into a kneeling position, then stood up, swaying and tottering before breaking into a run again. That's more like it. Moonin jogged alongside him. Come on, shift it. Falin's legs didn't feel like part of his body anymore. He'd run so far that they wouldn't do what he wanted. He was trying to run, but stumbling along in small steps, unable to find a steady rhythm. His lungs screamed for a rest. But he wasn't going to stop and be a Nibrel. He didn't want to be one of those. Ahead was as near to home as he was ever going to see again. A camp that moved from place to place each day, where he sobbed himself to sleep every night with his fists crammed into his mouth so the Mandalorians wouldn't hear him, and think he was a baby for crying so much. He could see the Mando soldiers standing around in the camp, watching. They all wore armor. Even their women were tough soldiers, and it wasn't always easy to tell who was under the armor, male or female, or even if they were human. Faline welled his body on, but it wasn't listening. He pitched forward flat on his face. Every time he tried to get up, gravel and dirt cutting into his palms, his arms gave way again. He sobbed in frustration. The finish line was still a long way off, but he had to get up. He had to finish. I'm not lazy. I'm not a noob. I won't let him call me that. Okay, Adika, Moon said, swooping him up in his arms. He sat Faline on one lap, on one hip, as if he was used to carrying kids, and strode into the camp. The sudden switch from yelling to kindness was very confusing. You did okay, lad. It's all right. Faline hit Moonin as hard as he could, but his balled fist bounced off the metal breastplate. It hurt. He wasn't going to let Moonin know that, though. I hate you, he said. Now certain at last. When I'm bigger, I'm going to kill you. I bet you would, Moonin said, smiling. You already tried once. The other Mandalorians watched, some with helmets on, some not. They'd finished fighting their war here. They were waiting for a ship to take them home. You trying to kill that boy? One of the men stopped to ruffle Faline's hair. His name was Jun Okan, and he was eating shavings of that horrible dried fish stuff, kihal, carving them from a big chunk with his vibroblade and popping them into his mouth the same way folks ate fruit. Poor Shabika. Hasn't he been through enough? I'm just training him. There's such a thing as too much. Come on. He's Mando Carva. He's already managed to survive on his own. He's all guts, this one. Guts or not, I don't have my boy do proper training runs until he was 8. Faline didn't like being talked about as if he couldn't understand what was going on. In the center of the camp, tents made of blastoid sheets were strung over pits, then covered with grass and branches. A pot of stew was cooking under a crackling fire. Moonin set him down and scrubbed his face and hands clean with a cold, wet rag before ladling stew into a bowl and handing it to him. We'll have to get you some armor when we get home, Moonin said. You need to learn to live and fight in it. Beskar Gem, the Mandalorian's second skin. Faline slurped from the bowl. He was always hungry. The stew was more like a broth, no lovely fat dumplings like his mother made, and he didn't like the fishy smell, but this was a banquet compared to what he'd been scavenged in the ruined city for a year. Don't want any armor, he said. You can do all kinds of things when you're wearing armor that ordinary folks can't do, Cal. Moonin called him Cal. In the man's own language, it had something to do with knives and stabbing. Moonin had nicknamed him Cal because Faline tried to stab him with the 3-sided knife when they first met. The Mandalorian seemed to think it was funny, and hadn't been angry at all, but Moonin fed him and didn't hurt him, and in the week since, Faline had been part of the mercenary camp. He'd felt better even if he wasn't happy. Sometimes Moonin called him Kalika. The mercenaries told him it meant little blade, and showed that Moonin was fond of him. I'm Faline, he said at last. My name's Faline, but he was already forgetting who Faline was. His home in Quad City seemed like a dream mostly forgotten when he woke up, more a feeling than a memory. His family had moved to Sokaris, while his father did engineering stuff on the new KDY warships there. I don't want another name. Moonin ate with him when he wasn't shouting. He was actually a kind man, but he could never take Papa's place. Starting over can be a good thing, Kalika. You can't change the past or other folks, but you can always change yourself, and that changes your future. The thought grabbed Faline and wouldn't let go. When he felt powerless, the idea of being able to make the bad stuff stop was the best thing in the world, and he didn't want not to feel that bad ever again. He wanted things to change. "But why do you make me run and carry things?" he asked. "It hurts." "So that you can handle anything life throws at you. So that you never have to be afraid of anyone ever again. I'm going to make a soldier of you." Feline liked the idea of being a soldier. He had a vague but long list of beings he wanted to kill for hurting his parents. And you could do things like that if you were a soldier. Why? It's a noble profession. You're tough and smart, and you'll be a great soldier. It's what Mandalorians do. Why didn't you kill me? You kill everyone else. Munin chewed thoughtfully for a while. Because you don't have parents, and me and my missus don't have a son. So it sort of makes sense that me and my missus, that we do what Mandalorians always do. That we take you in, train you, set you up to be a soldier and a father yourself. Don't you want that? Feline thought about it for a long time. He didn't have an answer, other than that he was lonelier now among other beings than when he lived on his own in the middle of Sukaris. Because all the Mandalorians seemed to belong. They were close-knit, like a family, and they hadn't killed his parents. They just rolled into a town a year later, while the war was still raging. He still felt angry, though, and they'd do as a focus for his anger until the real thing came along. "You think I'm lazy and stupid," Feline said. "No, I just say that and shout at you to get you mad enough to push yourself to the limit." Munin watched him empty the bowl and then refilled it. "Because strength is up here," he tapped his head. "You can't make your body anything if you want to badly enough. It's called endurance. When you find out just how much you can do, how much you can face, you'll feel fantastic, like nobody can ever hurt you again. You'll be strong in every sense of the word." Feline wanted to feel fantastic. On a full stomach, life seemed vaguely promising, as long as he didn't think about his mother and father, lying there among the shattered beams of the house they'd rented on Sorkakas. It was an image he couldn't get out of his head. He got up to wash the bowl in a pail of water and then sat down again next to the fire to look at his father's knife. As he did every day, it had 3 flat sides like a pyramid and stretched out to a point. He'd never been allowed to touch it while his father was alive, but he taught himself to use it while his father, because he had nowhere to run and nobody to look after him. He could throw it pretty well now. He practiced a lot. He could hit any target, moving or otherwise. "What's it like being a soldier?" he asked. Munin shrugged. "Often boring, sometimes scary. You travel a lot. You make the best friends you could ever have. You really live. And sometimes you die too early. Do I have to follow orders? Orders keep you alive." It wasn't quite dusk, but Feline could hardly keep his eyes open, and he sank into a delicious, numb fatigue as the world receded. He tried to stay awake in that twilight state because sleep inevitably brought the dreams, but he was just too tired. At one point, he was aware of being picked up and carried, but he didn't wake fully, and the last thing he felt was settling into a pile of warm blankets in one of the shelters that smelled of machine, oil, smoke, and dried fish. It was then that the dream started again. He knew he was dreaming, but it didn't help. He walked through the front doors of the house on Sorkakas, all the walls shattered and fallen with just the doors left intact, but he didn't recognize what he stepped on as his mother until he saw the face of the blue fabric of her favorite tunic. He looked around for his father. Papa was lying by the remains of the windows, and Feline knew something wasn't right, but it took him a few moments to figure that out. Most of his father's head was missing. He knelt down to take the knife from his father's belt and thought he saw it move. It was always then that he woke up. It hadn't been like that in real life. He'd huddled next to the bodies for ages before he decided that he had to run and hide, and took the knife to defend himself. But in the dream, it was all faster, different, more horrible. He jerked awake, heart pounding. "Papa head," he sobbed. "Papa head's broken." Munin Sirkata hogged Feline to the chest. "It's okay," he said. "I'm here, son, I'm here. It's just a bad dream. I wanted to stop. I wanted to stop saying Papa's head." Munin didn't yell at him for crying. He just held him until he stopped. Pauline clung to him and sobbed until he couldn't get his breath anymore. He realized that the three-sided knife was on his belt now, in a new leather sheath, and he didn't know where that had come from. "It'll stop, Cal," Munin said. "I promise, and nobody's ever gonna hurt you while I'm around. You're going to grow up strong, and you're going to be happy." Pauline decided he didn't mind being called Cal if it made the nightmares go away. Somehow, the two things were now connected. If he stopped being Faline, he stopped seeing his parents' bodies. Munin's Kirata sounded so certain and felt so strong and solid that Faline believed him. You could change if you wanted to. You could do anything if you wanted to. "I'm not really a Nibro, am I?" "Of course not, Cal," Munin said quietly. "I shouldn't have said it. There's no word for what you are, Mandalorian." Faline, Cal, didn't understand. He looked up to Munin's face for an explanation. "Hero," Munin said. "We don't have a word for hero, but you're a real little hero, Cal Skirata." Cal Skirata. It was who he was going to be from this moment forward. He fell asleep again, and when he woke the next morning, no dreams, no nightmares. He saw that the world was a different place. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was really fun. I hope you enjoyed it just as much. If you are still watching, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching my videos, for supporting me, and if if you would like to, if you want to see more content like this, like, comment, subscribe if you want. I would really, really appreciate that. It means, as a broke little college student, it means the world. But if you could, if you want to see more of this book, leave a comment, leave a like, show me that, you did enjoy it, and I would love to continue reading this. But for now, good night, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this book, and thank you again for stopping by my channel. Comment your favorite Star Wars character, and I will see you all in the next video.